Don't you think, like, we all kind of want to make it in life? Whatever making it means for each of us.
It's true, but sometimes it feels like we're always chasing some finish line, and it keeps moving further away.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what this blog post we're diving into today is all about. It's called Making It Isn't a Destination. It's a Journey. It's on our website, aspireandact.com/making it isn't a destination, it's a journey.
Easy for you to say.
Well, website names.
Yeah.
But the author, Ben, really makes us rethink this whole idea of making it. What do you think about that? Like, why is this shift in thinking so important? Especially these days where everyone wants everything like right now.
It's funny you should mention that because, well, think about it. We're constantly being told success should be like instant,
Right.
Like it should be quick and easy, but that's just not how it works. Ben, the author, he uses this metaphor in the blog. He says life is like a journey, not a destination.
Oh, that reminds me of that nursery rhyme. Row, row, row your boat.
Right, exactly. You don't like rush to get to the end of the song. It's about enjoying the rowing itself, the whole process. And it's the
Yeah.
same with making it. It has its own kind of rhythm, ups and downs, challenges and all that.
Yeah, but I think so often we think it should be a straight line to success, like no bumps in the road,
Yeah.
and then when we hit a bump, it feels like we failed or something.
And that's exactly where this idea can hurt us. That misconception that success is like a straight line. It can be so damaging. You know, everyone has setbacks. Everyone messes up.
Makes mistakes.
Yeah, and that's okay. Making it is about pushing through. It's about learning from your mistakes, those stumbles. You have to adapt as you go along.
There's that saying, it's not about how many times you fall, but how many times you get back up.
Exactly. And actually, Ben has six pointers in his blog to help us embrace this whole journey mindset.
Yes. And the first one really hit home for me. He says, like, if you haven't made it yet, don't worry about it. You're just on the journey.
Yeah. It's like a total reframe, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like it takes all the pressure off of getting to this finish line that doesn't even really exist. It lets you focus on the process, on the growth, like
Yeah.
what's happening right now.
Yeah, it's like you finally have permission to just enjoy the ride instead of, always stressing about getting to the destination.
Exactly. And that actually goes right into his second point, which is all about taking action. You don't have to have it all figured out before you start.
Right. You don't have to have every little detail.
Just take the first step.
It's so easy. It's so easy to get stuck in that planning stage, like overthinking everything. And then we never even start.
Totally.
Mhm.
And that's what this is all about. It's about overcoming that fear of not being perfect. You don't have to have all the answers, but you take that step anyway. That in itself is a win. What do you think about that?
Oh, I think it's huge. Because sometimes, taking that first step is the hardest thing, but it's also the thing that kicks off everything.
Exactly. And once you're moving, it's way easier to keep going. But there's another trap. Like there's another thing we often do along the way, and that's what Ben's third point is about. Don't compare yourself to others.
Ugh, the comparison trap.
Hmm.
It's so easy to fall into that, especially, with social media and stuff.
Yeah, you're just, you're constantly seeing these highlight reels of everyone else's success.
Right, like everything is perfect and amazing.
And it makes you feel like you're behind or something.
Yeah. But, Ben reminds us that everyone's on their own journey, right? Everyone moves at their own pace. It doesn't even make sense to compare. Like, it's like comparing chapter 2 of your book to chapter 20 of someone else's.
Yeah. That's such a good way to put it. And if we keep comparing ourselves to others, it just steals our joy.
It makes us question everything we're doing.
Exactly. What do you think about that?
It's a good reminder, to focus on our own progress. Like, just celebrate our own wins instead of, getting all caught up in what everyone else is doing.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that your journey is unique and special. And speaking of challenges, Ben doesn't try to pretend that they don't exist.
Okay.
He reminds us that tough times happen.
He does. He actually says, persevere through the tough times because they will make you stronger.
It's like he's not saying it's going to be easy, but he's saying those times, they can help us grow. It's about being resilient. That's something we talk about a lot here at Aspire and Act. Do you think he's saying that challenges are actually a good thing?
I think he's saying, challenges are going to happen. It's part of any journey. And it's not about trying to avoid them. It's about learning to, navigate them,
Yeah.
to deal with them.
That's a great way to think about it. It's like he's saying, hey, those tough times are coming. but they won't break you. They'll just make you stronger.
Like, those resistance bands you use at the gym. The tougher the band is, the stronger your muscles get.
I love that. And speaking of getting stronger, let's move on to Ben's fifth point. This one is, well, one of my favorites, actually. Celebrate your successes, no matter how small.
It's so true. It's easy to forget that,
Yeah.
You're always working towards the next big thing, and you forget to, take a moment to enjoy the small wins.
Right. And celebrating those small wins, it's like giving yourself a little pat on the back. It's like, hey, I'm making progress. I can do this. What do you think?
Absolutely. And those small wins, they build momentum,
Yeah.
They keep you going.
It's like, like that feeling you get when you cross something off your to-do list.
But-
It might be a small thing, but you feel good. You feel productive.
Totally.
And that's so important to keep us, engaged and, excited about the journey. And that actually brings us to Ben's final point. It's a big one. He says, remember, you are in control of your own destiny.
Yeah, this is where it gets interesting. He's not just saying to enjoy the journey. He's saying we're the ones in control. What do you think about that?
I think it's so important because, it's so easy to feel like everything is happening to us, but he's saying we have choices. We can shape our own journeys. We can decide what success means for us.
Right. So even though, there will be challenges and detours and stuff.
We get to decide how to react to them.
Exactly. And we can trust that as long as we keep moving forward, keep learning, we'll get to where we need to be.
Even if it doesn't look exactly like we thought it would,
It's funny. We started this deep dive talking about wanting to make it. But I think Ben's blog has helped us see that making it is something different than we thought.
It's not about, what other people think or some level of success you have to reach. It's about living a life that feels good,
Yeah.
meaningful, you.
That feels right. A life that fits with what's important to you.
Yes. And that's a journey that everyone can be on. It doesn't matter where you're at or, what you've achieved.
So we've covered a lot,
Hmm.
and I feel like we're just scratching the surface of what Ben has to say.
Huh.
But before we jump into the next part, what are you thinking? What really stood out to you?
What I keep thinking about is this, this idea that making it is a process. It never really ends. It's not a finish line. It's like you're always growing. You're always becoming. It makes me wonder, if we really embrace that, how does that change how we set goals?
Yeah.
How we try to achieve things.
That is such a good question. Something to think about as we keep going with this deep dive. And hey, don't forget, you can find the full blog post on our website, aspireandact.com/making it isn't a destination, it's a journey. And we also have our YouTube channel at Aspire and Act, where we go even deeper into all this. Stay tuned. We're just getting started.
When we were talking about challenges being part of the journey, I think Ben really makes that point clear in his blog.
He doesn't try to sugarcoat it, that's for sure.
Yeah.
He uses the phrase, tough times,
Huh.
to talk about those bumps in the road,
Yeah. And it's interesting. He doesn't say we should avoid them. He's saying they're actually part of the journey.
Right. He even says, persevere through the tough times because they will make you stronger.
Mm.
It's like he's saying those challenges, they kind of make us who we are.
Yeah, I think so. It's not about pretending they don't exist. It's about, seeing them as chances to grow.
Like building muscle or something.
Hit it
To
with
push
the
yourself
hits.
right to get stronger.
Exactly. The tough times, they're like the weights. They make us stronger. And it goes back to that thing you said about success not being a straight line. If making it was just about, reaching a destination, then those tough times would feel like failures. Like we're going backwards.
But when we think about the journey, those challenges change, don't they?
Yeah.
They're not bad anymore. They're like chances to learn.
And you get more determined, to keep going.
And that leads to another good point Ben makes. Everyone's journey is different. So making it, that means something different for everyone too.
He actually says, don't compare your journey to others because everyone's is different. But it's so easy to do. You always feel like you're not doing enough. It's like trying to compare apples and oranges. Each journey is different. It has its own ups and downs, its own challenges.
So instead of focusing on where other people are, Ben says to focus on your own path. You decide what success means for you.
And celebrate your progress, no matter how small.
Yeah. He says, celebrate your successes no matter how small they may seem, because each success is a step closer to your destination. I really like that. It's like sometimes it's not about those huge jumps forward, you know?
It's the little things done consistently.
Right.
It's like, remember that feeling we talked about when you cross something off your to-do list?
Oh, yeah. It's the
It
best.
might be small, but it makes you feel good. Like you want to keep going.
Yeah.
And that's what keeps us, well, it keeps us interested in the journey, keeps us going. Which brings us to Ben's final point. And this one was really powerful. Remember, you are in control of your own destiny. It's like a call to action, isn't it?
What do you mean?
Well, he's saying we're not just passengers, you know.
Hmm.
We're the ones driving. What do you think that means for us, like practically? How do we actually, take control?
I think it starts with realizing we have choices. Like even when things are hard, we still have the power to decide what to do
So we don't ignore the challenges, we just like face them.
Yeah.
with strength and knowing that we can do it.
And trust that as long as we keep moving, keep learning, we'll get there.
Yeah, even if it looks different than we thought it would, you know.
Exactly.
What strikes me about Ben's blog is there's a lot of hope in it. It's not just enjoy the ride. He's saying, hey, you can make the ride what you want it to be.
Totally. He's saying it's your life, your journey, make it something amazing.
That's a good way to put it. We've covered a lot here, and I feel like there's still so much to talk about. But before we move on, what's sticking with you the most? What really stuck with me from this whole thing is, well, it's this idea that making it never really ends. It's not like a finish line you cross. It's like you're always changing, always becoming something new.
I agree. It's not about like getting to some point and then saying, okay, I'm done, I made it. It's about the whole journey, always growing, always learning.
It makes me think of that metaphor Ben keeps using. Life as a journey, not a destination. It's simple, but it's so powerful.
It really makes you think about, it's not just about the goal. It's about what happens along the way, the things you learn, the challenges you face. That's what shapes us.
And all those experiences, they become like part of your story,
Mm-hmm.
part of you, like collecting souvenirs, right? Except these are memories, skills, all that.
Oh, I love that. And when you start thinking about the journey instead of the destination, it opens up so many possibilities. You're more aware of what's happening right now. You enjoy each moment more.
It's like you finally take off those blinders,
Yeah.
You're not so focused on the end goal that you miss the beauty of everything along the way, the ups and downs, all of it.
And even those times where you get lost, those detours, those can be chances to grow too. You discover things about yourself.
It's funny, we started out talking about wanting to make it,
Yeah.
but I think Ben's drog has really shown us that making it, well, it's different than what we thought.
It's not about what other people think or, how much you've achieved. It's about living a life that feels right for you. Like it's meaningful, it has purpose.
Yeah, that feels right. A life that fits with, what's important to you.
And that's a journey, it's a journey everyone can be on. Doesn't matter where you're at right now or what you've done before.
It's about enjoying the process, embracing the tough times, celebrating the wins, all of it.
Being present, being curious, being open to whatever comes your way.
And knowing that, you're the one in control. You get to decide where you're going.
I think that's a perfect way to wrap things up. Ben's blog post, Making It Isn't a Destination, It's a Journey. It really gives us a lot to think about. And everyone listening, check it out on our website, aspireandact.com/making it isn't a destination, it's a journey.
And don't forget our YouTube channel at Aspire and Act. We dive even deeper into these ideas, and we share tips for how to live this way.
To embrace the journey.
Exactly. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. And until next time, remember, embrace the journey and keep on rowing.